Welcome back to Photography Tips and Tricks RC here, your show for gear tips, inspiration, anything you need to take your photography to the next level. Now, this week I wanted to be able to just do a quick one. I wanted to talk to you about my multi-tool, right? People were like, well, do you carry a light stand with you, a reflector stand? Like, if you just need to travel sparse, how do you travel? Well, a lot of the times I'll travel with a single flash and a set of stands. So on average, right, we talked about this in the last show, right? So this is an ACM2400L stand from Oben. We can go ahead and I'll pull this up here real quick, and I'm gonna ask my producer to get me a flash while we're working on this. So here we have the B&H website, and the product that we're looking at is the ACM2400L. I like this because it's a 4-section aluminum self-standing tripod with mini legs. So I have those legs kind of just set up there. Looks pretty good, right? Pretty high. There's the little legs on the bottom. It's a monopod, but in a pinch, it could serve as a single stand. Now, once I have that all set, that'll be my in a pinch light, right? So that's pretty good, right? Nothing, we've already talked about that. That's easy. But I can throw a flash on that light, and having a flash on that light will let me light a specific person. So one flash, in this case, I was doing it with a Nikon. I have a Canon here, right? So it works for either one of them. You can take this flash, you could set it up in one area, and bam, we could take this picture of Ron. So here we have Ron, and there's Ron. Now, one flash, okay, not bad, right? However, you'll notice that right here on this side, it's a little dark, right? Not a lot of information right here, right? One speed light. I could kind of go a little bit more towards the back, but then that would light the background a little bit more than I probably would want. So I'm not necessarily feeling that, right? So in this instance, more often than not, what I'll carry with me is this. I like this multi-boom light stand from Impact. It's a multi-boom light stand and reflector holder. What do I mean by that? This is the stand itself. It sits in the trunk of my car. And I'll go ahead and I'll open this up. Having it opened up here, I'll set this down, and it looks like a traditional light stand. It goes straight up and down, that's not a problem. But this one section, if you open this area here, you can take this all the way up, and it bends. So this will bend, and it'll get to a scenario where you can articulate the top head of this. And now we can go ahead and clamp this down. Now the rest of these sections that we have here can slide down and slide up so that you can pinch stuff. So it's got one little pincher right here. Right, I'll go ahead and I'll turn it up so we can kind of see it. Right, so there's my little pincher. Right, tighten that there. And I'm going to take this little pincher, same thing. Set it up right there, move it so that it pinches. Now, what am I pinching? Well, let's start with this. All right. Now, here, this is a triflector from Lastalite. Right, I'll just grab it and I'll place it kind of in this one general area because I never really know how big I need it. So I'll just kind of start moving stuff in and out and just kind of see where it's going to fit. I'm like, well, come on, let's get out there. And then once we kind of get it, I'll pinch, right, or I'll pinch this one spot right here. And then once I have that pinched in this area, I'll solve this one first. There we go, get in there. Then, as I'm doing this, I'll open this here and push it out further until I can get it within the range of the second pincer right here. So push the second pincer, and now we're all set. Now, it's obviously aiming up, right? Not good. But I can take this now, this knob at the very, very top, and watch this. If I loosen it, woo! Can move it around and get it exactly where I want. So this knob will let me kind of move it. This knob will let me spin it, right? Once I have that all set, I'll take that same reflector and I'll put it on the opposite side. So let me just show you here what this looked like, right? Here's the first setup, bare flash setup. So one flash just went into that one area and it produced this. Now, if I show you this setup, there's my reflector. It sits off to the right. That produces this. So let's take a look. I'm going to grab the first one and the second one, and we'll just compare them. So you could take a look. Oh, actually, let's compare not those two. Let's compare this one and this one. So now, if you look in this area, right, darker. If you look in this area, a lot brighter, just by being able to kick back just a tiny bit of light in that one section, kind of fills it out. So in a pinch, that can give you a little bit more work without having to set up a completely different light. And I'm gonna go ahead and pull this off because it's a little gold and I don't wanna necessarily have a gold face. But that right alone can be a great small tool to be able to add. What I'm gonna do is this. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, I'm gonna show you how to set it up for shooting through it, as well as how to be able to use it for a second light.
Get the world's best photography, lighting, and Photoshop training at Photoshop World. Here's the top 10 reasons you should attend. It's 3 non-stop days of real-world training where you can get personal attention and unlimited access to the world's top instructors in Photoshop and photography. When you attend, you'll have chances to experience hands-on live shoots and workshops, outrageous after-hours parties and events, and hundreds of classes for all skill levels, along with dozens of opportunities to network with other attendees. In-depth, one-on-one portfolio reviews from industry professionals and see new cutting-edge technology. Plus, you can even earn continuing education and graduate-level credits from attending. This is the must-attend conference for photographers and Photoshop users. Use the promo code to get an extra $50 off. Photoshop World, the world's best Photoshop and photography conference.
Welcome back to Photography Tips and Tricks RC here. So in the previous episode, we talked about how to be able to do this. Work with one light setup and then just add a basic reflector to be able to fill in this right side section over here. So that's okay, right? But a reflector holder or a reflector stand has more than that as a use. So we talked about how to use this. I'm gonna move this out of the way here. Okay, we'll pull this little puppy out, right? Best way to be able to fold it towards you and away from you, turn it, and then one hand under the other. That closes it out. Obviously, now you can put it in your bag or you can kind of just throw it out. So here's the next one, right? So pretty straightforward, pop out. Now, inside of here, same scenario, right? Grab it in a spot where you can pinch it. For squares, I usually just like leaving them all the way over to this one section. Now, what I want to do here is I want to make sure that I kind of pinch it towards the bottom though, right? As I pinch this towards the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to slide this guy over and I'm going to turn him up so that I'm just pinching the bottom portion of this because this is a diffuser. It's great for you to be able to put it in a sunny scenario. It's great for you to kind of diffuse that light, but it's also something that's really cool for you to kind of grab in this one spot, and now I can place this in front of a light, right? I can turn this down. I could set it up like this. Once I have this, I can go, all right, have that set, going up, and again go up here, and now I can go up even further. I'm gonna try not to take it off of camera. Right? Arnaldo, camera guy's like, no, he's breaking the fourth wall. Right? So we have this set up. Now, back there, that's your flash, right? So I'm going to take this scenario here, right? I have this flash here. I'm going to go ahead and grab this, right? It's a little wobbly, right? Pete Collins actually came up with a great tip. He was like, listen, in a pinch, what you could do is you could actually just put your camera bag right in that one section, and it'll give you a little bit more stability. But technically, you could do this, right? We can go ahead and we could tighten this up here. And now you have one flash. You take your reflector stand and you do that and you set yourself up in that one section. Now you're shooting through this bright spot. This is a much bigger area. When you shoot with a much bigger area, the much bigger area says that the bigger the light source, which in this case would be that big, the softer the light. So that's going to be something that's going to be an alternative setup. However, as much as I like this, I'm going to take it apart. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to bring this down. And oftentimes, as much as I think that's great, what I would rather do is I would rather take this out of the way, bring this down, and I would rather use this scenario for a second light, right? Because here I have this thing at the very, very tip, and you'll see that it has a small screw, and it has almost kind of like a brass end to it. What prevents me from taking this off, right, or having a second one of these, right? So imagine if I had a second flash with a second umbrella stand, I can clip this right onto this, and now I can do the exact same thing that I did before. Spin here in this one section, right? Or turn this up, down, or spin. I can get this in a scenario that I want and actually have it light exactly where I need it. Now, here's a tip that's gonna probably drive my video guy crazy, but take a look at the legs of my tripod. I'm gonna move it out here so that we can see them. You see the two legs right there? So we have two legs on the floor, right? So these two legs on the floor, watch what happens here. We'll put them where you could see them, right? If my head is towards him right here, see that? Look at that, weird, whoa. But see the legs? If my arm is pointed this way, watch what's gonna happen. Ah! The video guys are like, oh my God, they see the T-marks in the cables. Be quiet, don't worry. Ah! Instead, what I would rather you do is I would rather you take one of your tripod legs, I'm gonna put it on the T-mark right here that we have, and have that line be at the same place of your stand, see? Have it be parallel. When they're parallel, you could take this guy, and this guy's not going anywhere. He's not gonna be able to move because he's sitting over that tripod leg. By sitting over that tripod leg, he's not gonna break. Very easy. So I'm gonna move over here where it's gonna be a little safer for the video guy. The video guy's having a heart attack. Now, from here, we'll go ahead and we'll do this. I'll show you the setup here. That's what the setup looks like, right? So now we have that leg over this leg here, and we have a second light. So that light's right there. This light's over here, and it's lighting him. That setup produces that light. Now, hard to see. If you take a look over the shoulder, here's one, here's another. Right? Much darker here, more interesting light in this one section, and all I've used is a monopod and a reflector holder. If you want to be able to get more information on that, you can always just go over here to our friends at B&H. That's the Impact Multi-Boom Light Stand and the Open ACM2400L. We actually got the shoot-throughs and all that stuff, I think, through Westcott. So if you go to fjwestcott.com, there'll be the people where you can get the scrims and your diffusers and things like that. So it's a great place for you to check most of that stuff out. Now, so that's the website, fjwestcott.com. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the PeachPit ebook deal. Go to peachpit.com/KelbyOne, enter in the code KelbyOne, and you get 40% off of an ebook deal. It's Picture Perfect Posing by Roberto Valenzuela. So if you want to get 40% off of this ebook deal, right, and learn posing, peachpit.com/KelbyOne, enter in the code KelbyOne. Now, a website that I want you to take a look at is this, forstills.com. Forstills.com. So this is a website of our buddy Mike Cabasi. Mike Cabasi works in Hollywood. He does a lot of work with NCIS, he's done CSI, he's shot a bunch of different things, and he's a good behind the scenes guy for Hollywood stuff. He's also done some classes here on KelbyOne. If you go to the KelbyOne website, you can find a lot of his, you can find a lot of his work in this one section under the photography category. So he's done some stuff there. But you want to take a look at him because he is that kind of Hollywood insider. It's a great place for you to be able to go. Make sure that you take a look at his photography here. He's got some great, great work. Old school, new school, different school. Really, really nice stuff. So that's who I want you to follow. And he's a hero. He was actually decorated hero, right? Here, take a look at this. Go to, I'll give you another website, bit.ly/Mike K Hero. You'll see a Huffington Post article about him saving lives tons of lives after the Northridge earthquake. So he's a phenomenal man. I think definitely worth a look over. Now, contest time. Let's go ahead and go to kelby.com/webcast. Leave us a name, leave us an email, leave us a website. Obviously, this is episode 55. Tell us what you want to see. Tell us what you don't want to see. This is your show. We want to be able to help you. Our producers are going to pick somebody, and the winner is going to go to Photoshop World. Photoshop World's April 8th through the 10th at the Cobb Galleria in Atlanta, Georgia, and you get to go spend time with the world's best photographers and Photoshop instructors for a multi-day conference. If you haven't seen it, make sure you go to photoshopworld.com. This is the place. This is our favorite show. So now, that wraps it up for this week. Hopefully we'll see you guys next week here on Photography Tips and Tricks. Take care.